Hello, everyone. I'm excited to have today with me Julie Adams.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And we are talking about the chemical secret of success.
Yes.
So you do some amazing things, and I was impressed with all that you do.
Thank you.
You are an author,
Yes.
a keynote speaker. You and your husband own 5 companies,
Yes.
and you are CEO of 3 of them.
Yes.
Wonderful. So how do you do it? What is the magical secret that you achieve all this success?
Okay. So success is rooted in two things. Success is triggered by chemical reactions, and those chemical reactions are based on SEX, which is an acronym for social emotional ecstasy, and skills. And I started to learn about this years ago. I was teaching 8th grade, and one of my students was struggling with his behavior and his learning. And he said to me one day, "Mrs. Adams, nobody wakes up to suck. I hate struggling and being stressed and not knowing what to do. Why do some people know and some people don't? And can you help me be successful?" And that brutal honesty just rocked my world, because it clarified for me what my role was as a teacher, but also as a parent and as a leader. And the problem was I was a new teacher, and I didn't have the knowledge and the skills that I needed to help him be successful. That set me out on a journey to learn as much as I could about neuroscience, critical thinking, positivity, efficiency, and performance. And what I discovered is that success is triggered by chemical reactions. And once we know how to trigger chemical reactions that help to increase our critical thinking, then we strengthen our brain and set it up to learn the skills that we need to be successful. So sometimes we try to learn skills when we struggle, but our brains aren't ready for it. And then when we can't learn those skills, then we get stressed, and then we get anxious and depressed, and we struggle, and we wonder, what am I doing wrong?
Mm. So give us some practical advice, because it sounds so interesting.
Yeah.
But how can we do it? Because some of us, or some people watching us, listening to us, may have this stress. They want to learn something,
right,
but they are not in the right state. They don't have the right chemistry for being successful.
Right. Okay. So the first thing for us to be aware of is our mental, physical health and wellness. We have chemicals in our brain that determine how charged up we are. So every morning we wake up with a rechargeable battery, our brain. Some of us wake up fully charged. Some of us wake up partially charged. Some of us wake up drained. And what determines our battery charge are these chemicals. Specifically chemicals such as cortisol, which is a stress chemical that drains our battery. Too much of that is bad. But we need high and appropriate levels of dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, GABA, glutamate. And when we have high levels of dopamine and oxytocin, those positive critical thinking chemicals, then cortisol tends to be low. But if we have high levels of cortisol, then our critical thinking chemicals tend to be low. So a simple thing that we can do to focus and remember on what are the basic things that help us to keep our chemicals balanced is to remember the acronym SEEDS, SEEDS. So S stands for sleep.
Okay. So people watching us, they don't follow these rules because they should be sleeping right now.
Yeah, is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
So the mature brain, healthy brain, over 25 years of age, it needs about 7 to 8 hours of sleep. If you don't get it, you will not have critical thinking and creative capacity. That's the thing that drains your battery more than anything else. And it skyrockets that stress chemical cortisol. The young brain under 25 needs 9 to 13 hours of sleep every single night.
Wow.
And they average about 6.
Wow.
So that's why literacy and numeracy and ADHD and all of these anxiety and depressive orders are really starting to skyrocket in our youth. The second letter, E, stands for exercise. So the mature brain over 25 needs at least 20 to 30 minutes of just a brisk walk every day. 120 to 150 minutes of exercise throughout the week. The young developing brain under 25 needs 60 to 120 minutes of exercise, fun exercise every day to help keep these chemicals balanced. So we've talked about sleep. We've talked about the first E, exercise. The second E is efficacy, EFFICACY, which is a fancy way to say learning. And our brain loves to learn. So what are you doing every single day? Are you listening to podcasts? Are you reading nonfiction articles or books? Are you watching or listening to TED Talks? What are you doing to grow your skills every day? That's so important. D stands for diet, but diet is not just food. It's everything that goes in, visually, in our mouth, in our ears. So is at least half of the food we're eating unprocessed? That's very helpful. Too many processed foods, we know, not good for the brain, not good for our chemicals. Are we drinking enough water? We're recommended to drink half of our body weight in water, in ounces, every day. So if you weigh 200 pounds, we're recommended to drink 100 ounces of water just to help balance our chemicals. And then the last thing is digital detox. We have got to shut our devices down for at least 12 hours a day.
Wow, 12 hours detox.
That's right. So think about that. Maybe 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., you're going to put those devices away. And then the last S, so we talked about sleep, we talked about exercise, we talked about efficacy or learning, we talked about diet, which is everything that goes in. The last S is social connectedness. And that's more than just positive relationships with people that you're close with. Social connectedness is how many times do you trigger smiles in random people throughout the day? You know, not in a creepy way, right? But hi, how are you? How are you doing? How was your weekend? What's something you're looking forward to? How's your grandmother? How can I help you today? Oh, you look nice today, giving a compliment. The more we trigger smiles in other people and help their chemicals to be balanced, the more our chemicals get balanced. And so we have to get outside of ourselves. So take on the challenge of planting the seeds every day. Take on the challenge of triggering at least 5 smiles in people you don't know throughout the day. And that really helps us to get balance and increase our critical thinking.
Wonderful. I know that you wrote several books. Is there a book that you would recommend where people could learn more about what you're just talking? Because
yeah, thank you. I have a brand new book coming out. It will be out in 2 weeks. So somewhere around August 9th or 10th, it's called Fully Charged Systems, Stories, Science, and Strategies to Skyrocket Success. And it talks about everything I just talked about. And I also have a website, adamsteaching.com, and I have some mastermind courses that are going to be starting soon where I'm going to be teaching all of this and providing coaching and support to help people regulate their chemicals in a healthy way and take back their life.
Wonderful. What is your final thought, final message, one sentence, something that you would give to our audience?
Nobody wakes up to suck. So if somebody is struggling, it's either rooted in sex, their social emotional ecstasy, right? They're not planting the seeds, so we need to go back and focus on planting the seeds, or skills. Sometimes we just don't have the skills that we need to be successful. So success is rooted in sex and skills. That's
Wonderful.
the secret to being fully charged.
Thank you so much for joining
My
us.
pleasure.
All the best, and say goodbye. Bye.